When these people are upset about specific things that have gone on from that table, like shooting the middle finger up at this court and laughing and joking, Ms. McNeil, be quiet. To try to threaten my children and bring up my children is inappropriate. Go to the back of the room now. You don't threaten the court's children.
It is very important, considering what has been happening throughout this nation with threats to the Speaker of the House and violence that has incurred, that we do not create an atmosphere where dog whistles are being emanated from this courtroom, encouraging folks to act on those same types of behaviors. This is a sentencing hearing. We are asking the court to direct the state to direct those witnesses to address the matters at hand, and that is their feelings with respect to how this particular sentence impacted them and how that will be helpful for the court to render judgment. But to direct any other statements or any other suggestions to the defense and to the jurors to encourage or incite folks to act on those encouragements is not appropriate.
There has been no incitement, there has been no remarks. How you could equate violence? I mean,
I agree, Mr. Weeks.
Talk about is the defendant's violence.
All right, and respectfully, Mr. Weeks, Ms. McNeil, who's lead counsel in this case, has made all of these arguments. I've heard them. There's been 16 people that have testified. Only 2 have made a direct comment to the lawyers. And
you know, Judge, I'm standing here and I see that Jeff Marcus jumped up really quickly. But no one jumped up when people were referring to karma acting in the universe. No one was jumping up when they were referring to the defense children. No one jumped up to try to tap down that rhetoric. That is the rhetoric that I'm talking about. That is what I'm trying to be very clear on. Jeff Marcus, the state, they can hide behind their arguments, but we all are witnessing what is occurring in this courtroom.
Which is myself. I'm a judge,
and
I understand that I'm in charge of the decorum, and I feel that 99% or a great percentage of what has been said has been appropriate. Everybody has maintained decorum, but for a few comments, it's best to just move on as opposed to highlight them.
This is true, Judge, but I am witnessing a building of momentum, and I'm encouraging the court to direct the state to tap down on that momentum so it does not reoccur and it does not become a theme. Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, for the record, the only thing the state has said to any of these witnesses when they get up is, would they like to say something on behalf of the victim they're representing? There's been no encouraging or inciting, as Mr. Weeks has put on this record. That is a blatant falsehood and a recreation of the record. As far as no objections being made, it's the defense that could have objected. It's not the state's duty to object to their own witnesses when they're testifying.
Okay. Listen, I've already heard. If you have anything else to say, you can put it in writing at a later time. I've heard from both sides more than once. That's going to be it. I've made my decision. Like I said, 99% of what's been testified to has been appropriate. I do not want to highlight the few things that were said that were perhaps not appropriate, and let's move on.
Judge, I'm asking for 20 seconds back.
You can have as many seconds as you want in writing, and you can put all of your objections in writing. They've been made multiple times from your chief assistant, from Ms. McNeil, and I don't want to hear anything else. I've already heard it. Is there something that has not already been argued?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, exactly what is it?
Judge, before Mr. Schachter took the podium and testified before this court, I wanted to reflect that both Mr. Marcus and Mr. Satz looked at the statement prior to the reading. And so their implicit adoption of what he was saying, of this improper arguments, in the court should chastise.
Okay, but what you are doing right now is highlighting something and making more of a spectacle. So if your office in general does not want to facilitate or incite violence, then we need to just sit down and move on. That's it. There were 18 witnesses, 16 or 18 witnesses that testified today. There was nothing that was said until Ms. McNeil made her point made, and, you know, we're moving on.
But is the court going to do anything about maybe stopping it from happening again?
When these people are upset about specific things that have gone on from that table, like shooting the middle finger up at this court and laughing and joking, Ms. McNeil, be quiet. When these people have sat in this courtroom and watched this behavior from that table, and they want to say that they're not happy about it, what is the problem?
Judge, I have no problem because I have thick skin. But once you bring in my children, I think that's highly improper. And it's because
I didn't even know you have children. I don't know what you're talking about. Your children? What about your children?
For them to comment on my children is highly improper, and for this court to allow that kind of testimony is also improper.
I don't remember any comments about any children. And if there was, it obviously didn't, it came and went without me noticing it.
Judge, I can assure you that if they were talking about your children, you would definitely notice it.
You need to sit down right now. You're out of line. In fact, you're excused. You need to go sit in the back with your chief public defender.
He's the public defender, Judge.
Mr. Weeks, please ask the lawyer from your office to go sit down and not say anything else. To try to threaten my children and bring up my children is inappropriate. Go to the back of the room now. That just violated about every rule of professional responsibility that I have never. If you're going to get up here and you're going to...
Judge, I asked you to go sidebar on this matter.
You, sidebar or not, you don't have one of your assistant public defenders say something about my children?
Judge, that same venom that the court is expressing is the same venom that defense counsel had to sit through this entire morning when their children
She brought up her children multiple times during the trial. Nobody knows if I'm barren or not. They don't know about my children.
Judge.
Sit down. Sit down.
Judge.
Sit down, Mr. Weeks.
Please do not summarily dismiss me.
I'm summarily dismissing
asking
you.
the court.
Go sit down.
I'm asking the court. I asked the court to go sidebar.
Go sit down. You don't threaten the
Judge,
court's children.
everyone
Your
in this
assistant just
courtroom-
did that. Go sit down.
No one in this courtroom had to endure what we had to
Go
endure.
sit down. Miss McNeil has made her children a spectacle more than once during this trial. That was her choice. You have absolutely no right to have one of your assistants come up here and suggest something about my children. Now, please go sit down.
Judge.
You're
Judge,
inappropriate and out of line. Go sit down.
Judge, may I have a brief recess?
No. Go sit down.
May I have a brief recess so I can speak to my attorneys?
We're moving on with the sentencing, Mr. Weeks.
Can I have a brief recess?
No.
Thank you.
It's 1:36. Thank you.